What is up, everybody? It's your boys Cam and T back at it again with another episode of the Cam and T podcast, episode 28. It is your boy. I am your host, Tony T. Tom West, man. And we also have our other host here, man. Cam, what's going on, Cam? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, bro. Chilling, man. Can't call it. You feel me? I can't call it.
Yeah,
How
man.
about yourself? How about yourself?
Doing good, man. You know what I'm saying? January. You know, it's kind of crazy, man. I feel like January is literally the longest month of the year, bro. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like January always just feel like a drag, bro. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
just me. Maybe it's not just me, but January just feels so long to me, dog. But I'm
Yeah.
glad January is done. My birthday coming up in a couple months. Your birthday coming
Yeah.
up in a few weeks.
Yeah. A couple
So
weeks.
yeah,
Yeah.
bro. So yeah, just I love this time of year, man. So definitely excited. But we got a good show tonight, man. We got to talk about some things that might hurt your feelings. Lamar Jackson, your boy didn't get it done. We'll talk about that a little bit. We'll talk
Yeah.
about, the Lions just having a colossal fall off. I mean, it was bad. Up 24 to 7, 24 to 7 at halftime. I mean, it looked like it was curtains, and they screwed the pooch. So we'll talk about that as well. We'll talk a little bit of NBA talk as well tonight. We'll talk a little GOAT talk too with Mahomes. Where is Mahomes ranking now in these quarterback, categories and stuff like that? Is it too early to start calling him the GOAT? Is it too, what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about all that tonight. So it's gonna be a good one, man. I'm excited. And Cam, if you ain't got anything else to say, man, we're gonna go ahead and pop this bad boy off, man.
Well, let's get it. Let's get
All
right
right.
into it.
Let's jump right into it, man. So we're gonna talk about your boys off the rip. The first game of the day on Sunday was the Chiefs versus the Ravens. The Chiefs came in, won in Baltimore. Now two road wins against, you could really argue, two of the hottest teams in the NFL in the Ravens, and also as well the Bills, beating them 17-10. I just want to read off a couple of stat lines. Patrick Mahomes was absolutely tremendous in this game. 30 for 39, 241 yards, one touchdown. Isaiah Pacheco had 24 carries for 68 yards and a touchdown. And then Travis Kelsey just continues to solidify his legacy. 11 receptions for 116 yards and a touchdown as well. I do want to talk about Lamar a little bit too and what the offense did. Lamar Jackson went 20 for 37, not the best day, but 272 yards, one touchdown, one interception. Lamar also rushed for eight carries for 54 yards. And then Zay Flowers, who actually was the really only threat they really had on offense, had 5 receptions for 115 yards and a touchdown. Should have been 2 touchdowns, but we're going to jump in that in a few seconds. So, Cam, with you being a Ravens fan, how did you feel about this game? Just break it down to me. What did you think about Lamar's performance? And also, as well, what did you think about the Chiefs and everything, just the whole game overall?
Yeah. First and foremost, man, I was heartbroken. I was torn up. I ain't felt this kind of pain after a loss. It's been so long, bro. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Cause obviously, we used to the team in Carolina losing every week, you know what I'm saying? Or going into it feeling like they're gonna lose every week, you know what I'm saying? But this game right here, I wanted this so bad, specifically for Lamar. And it just hurt because and I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna give all the credit first and foremost to the Chiefs. They played a great game defensively, offensively, what have you. They played a great game. But the Ravens choked this game and they beat themselves. There's no other way to put it, to be frank with you. All the penalties. I mean, it was just undisciplined. They was out of their element. They was out of their character. You know what I'm saying? Lamar, as far as his performance goes, he didn't have the best day, but he's gonna take more blame than I think he should get for the game. But at the same time, you know, this was like the biggest moment, right? And to not have your best day in this moment, that's what it's gonna come to you, unfortunately. Um, as far as the defense goes, first half they were struggling. It was real bad. But the second half, it was a shutout. Um, and they absolutely, I'll be frank with you, they dominated the Chiefs in the second half. I mean, they just really didn't give up anything. You know what I'm saying? Um, but the Ravens offense just couldn't get it done. Um, as far as how things go, Mike McDonald, I think his stock out of all the Ravens, his stock rose
Went
all the
up,
way up.
absolutely.
He should
Yeah.
be getting a head coaching job. Um, He should take one of those last 2 jobs, in my opinion.
From what it sounds like, he's just gonna be going 40 minutes down the road. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I hope he take that job or get any job because that was absolutely tremendous on his behalf.
Yeah.
And then on the other side though, Todd Monken, man, that was a bad. That was his worst game as an offensive coordinator. That was terrible. I don't want to give him too much hate because it's just his first season as their offensive coordinator. But at the same time, you're an older guy. You've been at the highest level, or excuse me, at the top of each level. So you should know by now, you know what I'm saying? And then with your team being the best team in the regular season, and then offensively, you had a game plan in each and every game, and it's almost completely abandoned it in the biggest game of the year. That was a mess. So I think Todd Monken should get a lot of the blame. I think John Harbaugh should take some of the blame as well because I just feel like the team just wasn't that prepared. Um, and then as far as Zay Flowers go, I want to say this too real quick. He's just a rookie. I'm not mad at anything that he did. I'll be frank with you. The taunting was a little crazy. It was dumb. It was messed up. But the whole team was doing stuff like that. So you can't, you know what I'm saying? So I can't really single him out for, especially after he was the only one that was making plays. You know what I'm saying? Like you deserve to be able to get up and look at the dude, you know what I'm saying, that you basically just caught a big catch on after, basically you felt like your offense was being held in check the whole day. But it was a dumb penalty, and I hate that it happened. But I'm not mad at it. And as far as him trying to reach the ball across the goal line and trying to get that touchdown, again, that was just a young player doing something that he felt like was going to help the team win, and unfortunately, it resulted in a touchback. And so, um, I'm not mad at him at all. You know, uh, I hope we get to see him smile again soon because it's just seeing him frown after the press conference because they always talk about how he's all smiles, but seeing
Right.
him, in the locker room like after the game and he's not smiling, that's how you know that it was a rough game. So, but ultimately, man, it was a great season for the Ravens, and I hope that they'll be back again next year. Um, and then as far as the Chiefs goes, like we said before, it's just the Chiefs, man. I mean, at this point, it's undeniable. Patrick Mahomes is undeniable. Travis Kelce is undeniable. Andy Reid is undeniable. And Steve Spagnuolo is insane as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I mean, I told you last week when we was on this podcast, I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'm just
Yeah.
not doing it. And come to find out, it just is what it is. He's getting to the point, and we're going to jump into this conversation next before we jump in even into the other game. He's getting to that point where he's getting into that Brady mode, where it's like you don't bet against him. I mean, that's just what it is. With Andy Reid also as well, he's starting to get to that point too, as good as a coach as he is. Because even before he had Patrick Mahomes, we got to remember the Eagles were really good when he was there too. They was
Yep.
getting to NFC championships as well. Travis Kelce is
Mhm.
a top 3 tight end, I think, of all time. And that's just where I stand on that. So I think when you look at that, it's so many variables that align a lot like the Patriots. Elite head coach, elite all-time quarterback, elite tight end, all-time tight end as well. Rob Gronkowski, Belichick, Tom Brady.
Tom
You know what
Brady.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
It almost lines almost exactly like that. Again, I think the Ravens defense did a hell of a job in the second half. I thought they played tremendous. I thought they really locked the run down. They did a really good job containing Patrick Mahomes as good as they can. I think that defense deserves a lot of credit for what it did in the second half. But again, Todd Monken, I don't know what you thought this was. I don't know why, when you've been the best running team this whole entire season, all of a sudden you're air raid. I don't get it. Lamar Jackson, I know that's your boy. I like Lamar too. He's one of my favorite players in the league. I thought there were several opportunities for him to take off, and he did not do it. Almost as if he was trying to prove a point of, oh, I can beat people with my arm. Please, let me show y'all I can beat people with my arm. No, bro. Do what you got to do to get to the Super Bowl. You don't have to tell them. You're about to be a 2-time MVP winner. You ain't got to prove nothing to these folks. You're about to be a 2-time, because he's still going to win the MVP. I think we all are pretty much concluded on that. He's going to win the MVP still. You are a 2-time MVP winner. You don't need to try to verify nothing. And that was the reason I really wanted him to win that game, because I knew, you probably heard it all week, all the crap that he's getting in the backlash. But I do agree with you. I think some of that falls on Todd Monken. I thought Todd Monken was terrible on Sunday. I thought he was awful. And honestly, to be frank with you, I thought that O-line that's been glorified this whole season was terrible. And that's credit to the Chiefs defense. They've done a really good job, and they've done a really, Spags, again, like you said, he's been tremendous this season. That Snead kid, we talked about him a few weeks ago. I told you, I think he's like a top 10 corner, bro, that nobody talks about in this league. Nick Bolton, another great linebacker in this league, nobody talks about. Chris Jones continues to show up every single game. He shows a flash, and that's all you need from him. So, again, I think that the Chiefs are just the Chiefs, bro. They're the new Patriots. When you look at the Chiefs, you are looking at the Patriots, but I do think the Chiefs are a little bit more likable. Because I like Andy Reid, I like Travis Kelce, I like Patrick Mahomes. I'll be rooting for them in the championship game, honestly. So that's just what it is for me. But again, I don't think this is an indictment on Lamar Jackson's career, like a lot of people are trying to make it seem like. I don't even think this is an indictment on Tom Monken's career.
No,
to be honest, this is their first year really getting this deep into the playoffs. But let's just kind of see what's going to happen from here. But go ahead, you was about to say something.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up in terms of Lamar Jackson's career.
Yeah.
So I seen this tweet earlier, and these are the stats. All right. So there are two quarterbacks. Obviously, we're talking about Lamar Jackson. He's one of them. I won't name the other quarterback, but so this is their first 6 years in the league. So they're both 2-4 in the playoffs. They're both 0-1 in the AFC Championship game. Lamar is 1-2 in the divisional round, and the other guy is 1-1. But both of their losses as a 1 seed were against the Titans. In the wild card, they're 1-1, and the other guy's 1-2. Lamar's completion percentage is 1 point higher at 57%. The other guy's 56%. Lamar has 1,845 total yards in the playoffs, and the other guy had 1,501. Lamar had 9 touchdowns. The other guy had 11. They both have 6 interceptions, and the other guy's passer rating is 82.5, whereas Lamar's is 75.7. And this is in their first 6 seasons as a starter. Do you know who that other guy is?
No, I do not.
It's Peyton Manning. So you know what I'm saying? So their first 6 seasons as a starter in the playoffs is literally identical. You know what I'm saying? The only difference is Lamar has more rushing. Yards. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, it's not, and Lamar is still only 27. He's still a young quarterback. That's the thing that a lot of people aren't understanding about this. Like, this dude's only getting better. Yes, he's not as dynamic as a runner as he was when he first got into the league, but he's clearly taking a step forward as a passer. You know what I'm saying? And if he can even just get to half of what Peyton Manning was as a player in terms of accolades or Super Bowls, whatever, if he can just get to half of that, I mean, you looking at a dude that's he gonna retire as a top 15 quarterback. You know what I'm saying? If he even just get half of that. So yeah, like what you said about Lamar and Todd Monken, this ain't an indictment on their careers. This is their first season together, and they made it all the way to the AFC Championship game. That should be that's scary. Rookie wide receiver being your wide receiver 1, a young tight end being, you know what I'm saying? Like, this was their team, and they made it to the AFC Championship game with this. It's a great roster, but with a young, like, haven't spent a lot of time together roster is what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? So this is a good step. Obviously, it ended in a little bit of disappointment, but it's good for them, and I hope, like you said before, hope they can make it back. And as far as the Chiefs go, like you said, this is literally the second coming of the Patriots, but more likable. You know what I'm saying? Because I will be rooting for them. So Denzel said, speaking of the Patriots, have y'all noticed that the AFC has had 2 dynasties, the Patriots and Chiefs? When will the NFC do that consistently? Okay, Denzel. T, let's talk about it. If you want to bring it up, let's talk about it. There are a few teams in the NFC that I think can get to this level of dynasty. I think the 49ers, even though they haven't won a Super Bowl championship, I think they should be considered a powerhouse, if not a dynasty, a powerhouse at least, because they're always here somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I think the Eagles, if they can just get it right, they should be a dynasty if they can get it right. Obviously, I don't want to put too much on the Cowboys because we know they're cursed, but they have no excuse not to be at this point, close to being that good. And another team that I think teams should look out for, the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers should be that next team in the NFC to take that step to be able to challenge the 49ers and the Eagles, in my humble opinion. And the Detroit Lions, obviously, too.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think the only team that I see constructed that can be a dynasty in the NFC is the Niners, to me. Now I do like your Green Bay take because I will say this: they are the youngest team in the NFL, and they improved every single week and knocked off one of the best teams in the league. I know it's the Cowboys, but they still did that with a very unexperienced team. You have to give them credit for that. I do like that take, but as of right now, I can only really see one team that is going to be setting themselves up for going to the championship every single year out of the NFC, and that's the Niners, which is why I picked them at the beginning of the season. I actually picked the Super Bowl. I said it's going to be Chiefs and Niners. And that they're the only team because with the Eagles, I do not trust Sirianni. Sirianni has lost my trust completely, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Also, as well with the Lions, I think they just need a little more infusion of talent, and I think Dan the man needs to calm down with all the risk a little bit. Like, just chill out just a little bit. Also, as well, Green Bay just super young. Now, I think Green Bay actually might have the bigger chance than all the teams you just named, in my opinion, because they're so young and they show so much progression through the season. But for me personally, I just gotta see more before I start putting them on level. I think it's the Niners. I think the Niners are the only team in the NFC that I can see really being like a dynasty. But I did want to move over to the next name because I think we're talking about a dynasty in the Chiefs. I think at this point they are a dynasty, which we're going to move this conversation over to the Chiefs quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, who is now on his way to, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is his 4th Super Bowl in the last 6 years that he's going to be going to. Because he won 2 already, and then he lost to the Buccaneers in 2020.
Yeah, so this is 4th in 6 years.
This is going to be his 4th Super Bowl in 6 years. Let's just jump right into it, man. Where do you rank Patrick Mahomes all time as of right now?
Oh man. Shoot. On my list, man, he already at least number 2 for me. You know what I'm saying? I just think, and the reason why I say this,
you put him number 2?
Yeah, and this
over
is right
Montana.
now. Yeah. I mean, I ain't never seen Joe play, so I can't. Because I don't even have Joey. I didn't even have Joe at 2. I had Peyton Manning at 2.
You got Peyton Manning over Joe? Oh nah, Karen, you can't do that. Nah, Frank, you can't do that, bro.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I feel like it would be disingenuous for me to say, to talk about a player that I ain't see. I don't know nothing about. You know what I'm saying? I know Joe Montana I know he got Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? What he got, 4 of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he got. I know Joe, and Tom Brady even said that Joe Montana was like his GOAT. So I know Joe Montana is special, but he would be. I had the 3 I was thinking about in my head was Brady, Manning, and Mahomes, and then Rodgers would be there, even though he not really he don't have the Super Bowl accolades. But I got Mahomes at 2, and the reason why I say that is because at least right now. The reason why I say that is because I promise you can go throughout history of football. There are so few players that are this talented, and this scary, that it's just hard to rank him outside of the top 5 at this point. I know the old heads gonna bring up. Heads gonna bring up.
I don't care what the old heads say. Patrick Mahomes should not be out of your top 5.
They gonna bring up somebody obscure that ain't nobody talking about. But look at what this man is doing. And the NFL right now, in my humble opinion, is stacked. You know what I'm saying? Especially the conference that he plays in. It'd be one thing if he was in the NFC, excuse me, and he not, you know what I'm saying, he has, an easier shot to get there every year.
Right.
He going through Burrow, Lamar, Allen, Herbert, even though his team ain't worth much. You know what I'm saying? He going through all of these guys. Now you got CJ Stroud. You got hopefully Trevor Lawrence eventually. I mean, these are all quarterbacks that people consider to be top 10-ish, right? You know what I'm saying? And he going through them. So and the accolades speak for themselves. As far as touchdowns go and yards go, no matter what game he's on, he's going to be the first player to reach that number in the fastest amount of games, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? No matter where he is. So let's say he got 200 touchdowns in his career. He's the fastest at 200. If he's at 300, he's the fastest at 300. If he's at, 20,000 passing yards, he's the fastest at 20,000. Like he's already breaking records. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, he got 2 Super Bowl MVPs and 2 regular season MVPs, and has a very clear chance to get a third one this year, third Super Bowl MVP. So I think you have to put him at least at, if he gets that third Super Bowl MVP, he's got to be at least top 2 or 3. Got to be. Because how many players got that? How many quarterbacks have that?
2.
It's just 2. It's Brady and Montana. Is that right?
That's it.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So, and I know a lot of people talk about Aaron Rodgers. I did want to put this out. I said this even like last year or the year before last. He pretty much already passed Rodgers with that second. He been past him.
Rodgers.
That's what I'm saying. So
that ain't no question.
So yeah, I got him top 3, man. And I know you. I know that's your boy though. So where you got, Pat?
Oh, top 3. I have Patrick Mahomes as the third best quarterback all time right now. I don't want to hear any arguments. He took a team with a bunch of enterprise car workers to the Super Bowl, bro, at wide receiver. Oh, yeah, bro, it's not even a question. He is he literally lost Tyreek Hill and got better. Who does that?
Yeah.
Nobody does that, bro. Like, we got to just be honest here, bro. I know old Hags is going to be like, oh, Dan Marino's over him and he hasn't earned his way yet. This man is on his way to possibly a third Super Bowl already. Title. Because I think they're going to beat the Niners, personally.
Yeah.
So I'll just go ahead and give my prediction now. I think he's going to win a third ring.
Yeah.
And 2 back-to-back, by the way. I think he's the third best quarterback in this league, and I really don't even third quarterback of all time, I mean. And I just think that's where I'm at with it. And I'm going to say this too. This is probably unpopular. I think Patrick Mahomes is the most talented quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no quarterback more talented than Mahomes. I know a lot of people going to say, oh, well, what about Matthew Stafford's arm strength? And what about, his directional passing? And what about, Aaron Rodgers' arm strength? No.
The whole body of work in terms of talent, yeah.
That's what I mean. As far as talent, I'm just talking talent at this point.
Yeah,
he is the most talented quarterback we've ever seen, which right there alone, and he has the accolades to back it up. I think he's the third best quarterback of all time. I'm gonna tell you this: if he gets to 4, I'm putting him 2, straight up. If he gets to 4, I'm putting him 2. Sorry, Joe Montana, hit the sticks, brother. You at 3, and I'm gonna be honest. If he get to 5, man, and I'm gonna say this: if he gets to 5, I put him over Brady. Here's why. Mahomes is just more talented than Brady. It's just what it is. I don't even think Tom Brady would say that's a lie. He's more talented than Tom Brady. That's just what it is. He has more abilities than Tom Brady ever had. If he gets to 5 Super Bowl rings, I will put him over Brady comfortably. It's a different standard. Brady was a little less athletic, but his mind was just different. His football IQ was just different. But I'm telling you now, as far as talent, we've never seen anybody like Patrick Mahomes. If he gets to 5, I'm putting him over Brady, bro. Straight up. And it really, to me, won't even be a debate. It'll be, this is the best quarterback we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And some people may disagree with that, whatever the case may be, but that's just how I feel about it.
I'm not mad at that at all. You know, I was talking to my boy the other day on the phone, and I was telling him when it comes to most talented quarterbacks ever, I was telling him I think we got four of the top 10 most talent, yeah, four of the most top 10 talented quarterbacks ever playing right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I think
especially during this era, like, yeah.
yeah, I think Pat obviously got to be up there. In my humble opinion, I know we hard on him, but I think Josh Allen is insanely talented. I know we call him low IQ, but
Yeah.
as far as the talent goes, when he's at his best, man, I don't think there's ever been 10 quarterbacks
No,
more talented. You know what I'm saying?
no. When he's
I
at his
got
best, he's amazing.
I got Lamar up there as one of the most talented ever. He can do it all as well. And then
Absolutely.
obviously Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's insane as well. He was kind of like Mahomes before Mahomes in a way. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But so yeah, I think man, it's I'm excited to see where he can hit to. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna at least finish probably top two. If he don't pass
I think
Brady.
so
I
too.
but this is where I didn't want to bring this up too today. I
Yeah.
forgot to tell you this. So here's the comparison that I've been seeing online and I kind of made myself. Patrick Mahomes is to LeBron James as Tom Brady is to Michael Jordan. How you feel about
Mhm.
that?
I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah, I kind of agree with that somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why I say I kind of agree, and the reason why I like it so much is because when we talk about, well, I can see why is there's a little hesitation there because Mike was super talented too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mike
I
was
think that's the
talented.
big difference there. I think that's the big difference there. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, in my humble opinion, I think LeBron James can do it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like
Absolutely.
Patrick Mahomes, just like Patrick Mahomes can do it all. You see what I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
at?
Yeah.
Like Brian may not ever pass Mike in rings,
In
but
rings,
he
he
got
won't. But
yeah,
yeah.
but he got him in points, got him in rebounds, got him in assists, got him in blocks, got him in minutes. You know what I'm saying? He got him in all of that. I mean, pretty much everything except for championships and defensive team, first all defensive teams
Mm-hmm.
and defensive player of the year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas Patrick Mahomes, he has a great chance to get Brady in yards, touchdowns, all of that. And I'm talking might be able to do it by year 15 or 16 the way he playing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas Brady, it took him all the way up until year 20, I think, is when he broke the all time record. So it's just I feel like that's a good comparison. There's a lot of people that are gonna go ahead and say Mahomes is the GOAT now. I'm not mad at them if they do it. I'm all with it, to be frank with you. The same way I feel like LeBron is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I'm cool with it. I like that.
Yeah. No, I understand, man. Like I said, I think he needs a little bit more winning before I put him on GOAT status. Like as far as better than Brady, but if he win two more, bro, including this one, I'm putting him over Brady, bro. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be flat out honest with you. Because
Yeah,
Brady just don't got the talent that Mahomes got. That's just the truth.
yeah,
And like I said, I don't even think Tom Brady would deny that. He would probably say the same thing that
yeah,
he's more talented than me. I mean, it's just what it is.
yeah.
But yeah, I think he's definitely top three for sure. Now,
Mhm.
I want to go ahead and jump into the next game. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions. They go out there to San Fran and lose in a close game, and was up at one point 24-7 at halftime. I mean, was literally just running all over that defense, making plays. It was incredible. But the 49ers came back and won 34-31. I thought Brock Purdy showed some things that I kind of wanted to see from him in that game. He went 20 for 31, 267 yards, a touchdown, and interception. McCaffrey, and I'm going to have a discussion about him in a minute too. That's going to pertain to Panther fans. Christian McCaffrey went 20 carries for 90 yards and two touchdowns. Deebo Samuels and Ayuk. You was right about Ayuk. He is really showing like wide receiver one potential. Deebo had 8 receptions for 89 yards. And also as well, Brandon Ayuk had 3 receptions for 68 yards and a touchdown. And then I want to talk about the Lions a little bit here. Jared Goff, he went 25 for 41, one touchdown. A lot of drops. I thought Goff actually played pretty well, to be honest with you. He went like I said, 273 yards of touchdown. David Montgomery, he ran the ball well. He went for 15 carries and 93 yards and a touchdown. Gibbs did his part as well. 12 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown as well. Sam Laporta had a really big day. 9 catches for 97 yards. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown had 7 catches for 8 yards, 87 yards as well. I want to talk about Detroit a little bit and kind of give my synopsis on the game. I thought Detroit blew this game more than San Francisco won this game. I'll just come out and say it. Being up 24-7, I'm not gonna lie. At halftime, I was giddy for Lions fans. I was like, "Holy crap! The Lions are about to bring it home." All the hype and all the momentum was on their side, and then they come out flat in the second half. I mean, flat out flat. I think going for once again, I think that fumble, I think hurt them. I think the Niners came out with a lot of emotion coming out of that halftime, got on the board quick. Then Jahmyr Gibbs comes out, fumbles the ball, and that really changed the momentum of the game. You just felt it like, okay, that's it. The fun's over. Josh Reynolds just continuing to drop passes on 4th down. I'm not trying to rag on the guy. I'm pretty sure he's already having a rough enough week. But he was absolutely terrible on Sunday night. It was pathetic. Again, I just thought Dan Campbell just did a little too much, bro. Again, I know that's been your MO all year. Aggressive. I get it. But sometimes you have to know when to analyze your situation and say, okay, maybe we just need to take points here. We see momentum is slipping. Maybe we just need to go ahead and get some points here and get the momentum kind of flowing back on our side. And he just continued to go for it, failed. Go for it, Josh Reynolds drop. Go for it, same old. And just putting his team in horrible situations. And in my opinion, I know he's been doing that all year, but it comes a time where you got to kind of play smart, just to be real. I'm not trying to call him dumb. I get what he's doing. He believes in his guys, and I respect that. Because a lot of people are clowning on him, saying, "Oh, he's the worst coach." No, he's not. He believes in his guys,
not at all.
And he took the risk, and it just didn't work out for him on Sunday. But I think at certain times you have to analyze your situation before just going for it every 4th down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't do that.
Yeah.
I thought Jared Goff played well. Being back in the Bay Area, that's where he's from. His whole family was there. I thought he played a really good game. I thought Amon-Ra St. Brown was pretty incredible. I thought David Montgomery was really incredible. My problem was the defense in the second half was pathetic. I mean, it was bad. A lot of lucky stuff was happening too in their defense. Like that catch by Ayuk was absolute luck. That catch by Jawan Jennings on 3rd and 1 was absolute luck. It was a terrible pass by Brock Purdy. I just thought that more than the Niners, and I still want to give the Niners credit. Obviously, they're going to the Super Bowl. I personally thought the Lions lost that game more than the 49ers won, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That first half, like you said, the Lions were incredible. You know what I'm saying? Both sides of the ball. I mean, they were just getting it done. I did want to talk about Dan Campbell real quick though. About his aggressiveness. I'll be frank with you. I love the aggressiveness. I wish more coaches would be like that. You know what I mean? I just think that he has to pick and choose the times when to be aggressive. So, like, in my humble opinion, I don't know how you feel about this, but before halftime, I would have tried to punch that in on the 2-yard line. Man, come on. I would have tried to score that touchdown. But because you already up, 21-7. What's the, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know that they're going to come back like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you expect your team to keep playing as well as they were playing in the first half, right? So, if it was me, I'm trying to put the points on the board. I'm trying to go up 28-7. You know what I'm saying? On the road. I'm trying to absolutely demoralize this team, especially heading they got to get off the field from the touchdown and head right into the locker room. Oh yeah, I'm punching that in.
Yeah.
Because the field goal at that point is almost like a stop. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? It's almost like a stop. And so they kind of got like, oh man, At least we didn't give up a touchdown this time. You know what I'm saying? And they go in there with their heads kind of held a little bit higher. But anyway, but like you said, there's a time and a place for everything in terms of aggressiveness. And sometimes you got to realize, okay, these guys they're gashing us and we're not really doing anything to stop the bleeding. Let's just get a couple of points here. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's stop being aggressive because obviously things aren't going our way in this second half. So let's try to play a more professional form of football. I don't know what else to describe it as, but let's just try to get some points and let's just try to build some momentum back. Because after you lose fourth down after fourth down and you miss conversion after conversion, your momentum, it tanks higher than it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
It tanks.
Absolutely.
And then like you said, I know them fans in the stadium, boy, I know they was hurting in back in Detroit because they was all there. You see that? They was all in Detroit.
It was the Detroit fans out there in San Fran, honestly, that made the trip.
It was full in Detroit. And as far as Detroit in San Fran, like you said, they was out there too. So man, it's just that was a rough loss. And you know, Dan Campbell and the guys, they got to get back to the drawing board. But that brings me to our next 2 points. If you're ready to move on, that brings me to our next 2 points. So the first question I have real quick, who do you think blew the game worse? The Ravens with missed opportunity after missed opportunity after miscue, or the Lions blowing a 20-something point lead or 17-point lead?
To me, it's the Lions, without a doubt. I mean, to be honest, like they were on the road beating a team I think most of us thought they were going to lose to.
Yeah.
To just be flat out honest. And they were dominating. It's the Lions. It's not even close, in my opinion, because at least the Ravens and Chiefs, they pretty equally matched. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, they pretty equally matched. So that game really could have went either way. But yeah, to me, it's the Lions, and I don't really think it's that close, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And see, the reason why I'm gonna lean towards the Ravens a little bit is because, like you said, they were evenly matched. And when your defense pitches a shutout in the second half,
they played amazing in the second half.
You know what I'm saying? Your defense was absolutely outstanding. And we're talking about a guy that we just said is the top 3 quarterback of all time. And they was actually getting pressure on him. They was sacking him. Travis Kelce, I think he only had 1 catch in the second half. You know what I'm saying? Like they were playing lights out in the second half. And, you know, Lamar in the triple coverage. Zay Flowers taunting penalty. Zay Flowers fumble. Freaking Roquan Smith, 15-yard penalty on the last drive. I forget my man Mallett giving up that big play that Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Yeah, on the last play of the game. Man, that was, I just feel like miscue after miscue like that, they had the game. They had it. And they were at home. You know what I'm saying? I just felt like that one, and this could be just me because I'm biased, but that one I feel like was super painful to watch versus the 49ers were just that good. Does that make sense? Like they should have came back anyway based on who they were. You know, you feel me? And then the next point I wanted to bring up was, where does Detroit go from here? Because they got their guy back. He's coming back. Ben Johnson. So what can Detroit do to get back here next year? And with the retention of Ben Johnson, how does that affect their ceiling?
I think because a lot of people are saying, oh, they'll never be back. You know, I seen a lot of that type of talk this past weekend. We don't know that, for one. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and say it's easy to get back there. There's a great chance they won't get back there. I think even Dan Campbell said that there's a great chance they will not get back there. It's obvious. You know, it's just what it is. But in the reality of everything, when you look at what Detroit has, right? Detroit has a good quarterback in Jared Goff. I think he did a really good job this season. He's really done it 2 years in a row now at this point.
That's right.
So I think you got to give him credit. I think they have 2 really good, solid running backs that fit each other, right? In Montgomery and also as well Gibbs. Then they also have, I told you last week, I think they have a top 3 tight end in, Sam Laporta already in this league. So they got that. I think they have one of the better O-lines in this league. Again, defensively, I think they showed some flashes. I think they need a little more help in the secondary department. They have a really good linebacker in Jake Campbell. Jack Campbell, I think he had a tremendous year this season. They have some things. They got Aiden Hutchinson on one end. They probably could use another edge rusher opposite of him as well. But I think the only thing they really need like that is another DB or two and another edge rusher. And I think they're going to be set up for being successful for a long time, especially with keeping Ben Johnson another year. So this whole talk that the Lions are cooked, they're done. I don't really align with that, bro. I can see this team being, 12-5 again next year. To be flat out honest with you, or better, again. So I don't really get where all this the Lions are cooked talk is coming from. I don't really get it because to me they're set up for success for a while. Honestly. And again, I'm not saying they're going to get back to the NFC Championship, but I don't really understand all that talk of they're done. I don't get it.
Yeah. If I were a betting man, I would probably put some money on Lions NFC Championship next year because they just seem like the second. They seem like the second. I think the way it shook out this year is the way it could very well shake out again next year.
You know
what I'm saying? Absolutely. Because they're returning everybody.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, most of their guys are younger guys.
Exactly.
Right? When we talk about the pieces, they're young.
Goff. Fun fact: Goff was the oldest quarterback in the championship weekend. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which is crazy to think when you got legends in the AFC. Excuse me. And then you got was 5th or 6th year senior in Purdy. I know he was older than him, but regardless, the Lions, bro, like, and shout out to your boy Brad Holmes too. I mean, we've seen what he's been able to do in the last 2 drafts. What's to say they ain't gonna do it again, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they can mess around and make a play. And then as far as you left out a name earlier too, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I know you.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah. Jameson Williams too.
Jameson Williams. You know what I'm saying? They gotta they have the core to get back next year, so nobody should write them off. The real issue is, and I'm not trying to be hard on them or nothing like that, but Dan Campbell just got to get back to the drawing board, and he's got to work on, aggressiveness and stuff like that. Because I think he's still a very good coach. I'm not gonna be, because you know how a lot of people they be, oh, Dan Campbell's the best. Dan Campbell's the best. Then he lose a game. Man, that dude need to be fired. Blah blah blah. No, it ain't like that at all. Sometimes it's just not your day.
Right.
But he needs to get back in the lab to make sure that those days where it's not his day come few and far between. You feel me? But yeah, that's how I feel about the Lions. And then let's move on to these NFL offensive coordinators deciding they want to stay with their teams. How do you feel about that?
Hold on. Before we get to that,
okay.
I want to have a quick conversation with Panther fans real quick because we know that's our base audience. Let's just be honest. So there was a lot of, I'm rooting for Christian McCaffrey in the Super Bowl. I want them to win because Christian McCaffrey and Wilkes and all that good stuff, right? Now, and even some people were saying Sam Darnold. I don't know if they were trying to be funny or not, but I mean, it's just what it was. Let me ask you your opinion on this because I said something on Twitter and it kind of went semi-viral per usual. Because I'm a very opinionated brother and I'm not going to stop my opinions for nobody, even if you don't agree with it. I said the funny thing about the Panthers fans rooting for Christian McCaffrey is you're rooting for a guy that pretty much did not want to be here. And I said this at the end of the tweet. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be here. I don't want to be a fan right now of this team, to be honest. So let me ask you this. How did you feel about the love affair with Panther fans saying, we're rooting for Christian McCaffrey, even though we all subconsciously know he didn't want to be here? How do you feel about
that? I mean, truth be told, I don't care. I mean, I'm kind of rooting for him myself, to be real with
Yeah.
you. But I know that he didn't want to be here. I told my mom that. She asked
Oh,
me,
yeah.
yeah, because I told my mom. She said, we was watching one game, and she said that, she was like, man, Christian McCaffrey balling, and she's just joking because she know, that he used to play for us.
Yeah.
I looked at her, I said, my he ain't missed a game since he been with with the 49ers. I'm like, he ain't played for the Panthers in like 2 seasons. You know what I'm saying? He was sitting out, but he ain't missed a game with the 49ers. And it just means more to him,
Yeah.
as a 49er. That's home. You know what I'm saying? I know him and his girl, they love it out there in the Bay. The fans are absolutely fantastic when it
Yeah.
comes to how they treat him. And he just has a great offense around him. And it's just a competent organization,
Organization. Absolutely.
something that he absolutely deserves as
Absolutely.
the outstanding player as he is. You know what I'm saying? But as
Absolutely.
far as how the Panthers fans feel, I'm not, I feel like I would be somewhat of a hypocrite, me personally, if I said that I was upset with how they say or what they say, because obviously, I wanted Lamar and the Ravens to win it all this year, even though
Right.
they don't have ties to the Panthers
Right.
organization, but
Right.
like, but when Cam left, okay, and I know this is a completely different situation, but when Cam left, I bought the Patriots jersey. I was pulling hard for the Patriots that year. The next year,
Mhm.
when he was supposed to come back to the bank and play, the Panthers,
Mhm.
I was like, I'm pulling for the Patriots. I don't care what nobody say. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I wanted. But
Yeah.
obviously things didn't shake out that way. So for me, I don't care. But I do agree with your point that I hope that Panthers fans do realize that he didn't want to play for Carolina. Like, that's kind of how he got to this situation anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the big picture that I hope they understand, that he really didn't want to play for Carolina.
And I think I might have a different perspective on it. And me and you talked about this when the whole trade and before the trade happened. Me and you both talked to a source that knows everything, so you can connect the dots. And that individual told us Christian McCaffrey had been trying to get out of Carolina for about a year before he even left. Just to be honest. And Cam, you can confirm with that same person what was told to me, in that pretty much if he was not 100% healthy, he was not playing.
Yeah,
Now,
he was
Cam,
sitting out.
let's be honest. Who in the NFL is ever 100% healthy?
Nobody. Nobody.
The man played 6 games in the last 2 seasons on the JC Horn plan. Listen, bro. And again, bro, I'm not trying to be rude. I get it, bro. And I'm not trying to tell nobody to be a fan. Like, you know me, I don't do the fan police and stuff. I don't do that. I just find it kind of crazy though how everybody is saying, "Oh yeah, I want Christian McCaffrey to win," and I'm not saying he don't deserve it either. Like, this
Yeah.
guy's the best running back in the league. He's one of the best players in the game. All that. Like, I agree with every single last one of y'all that have said that. It's absolutely true. He's one of the best quarterbacks best running backs in the game. But I just feel like if we was winning in Carolina, he wouldn't have been sitting out all them games, bro. He would not
Yeah.
have been quote unquote hurt. He would have been out there. And I'm telling you from the source that told me, he didn't want to be out there. And I don't blame
Yeah.
him. Again, I want to make this clear. I'm not mad at Christian McCaffrey for wanting out, brother. I want out as a fan. Come get me. I want out.
Yeah.
I love this team. But again, I just find it crazy how people have just kind of like just shut that completely out, that he didn't want to be here. And I don't blame him. Again, I want to make this clear because I think people kind of didn't see that in part where I said I don't blame him. I guess people kind of like took that out their mind. Cam, he's got more carries in San Francisco than he had in Carolina. Them 2 years that he was getting a lot of usage, he actually has more carries in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I will say this: he has about 40 more catches in Carolina. So maybe it's
I
kind
figured
of
that.
even out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because Carolina was using him as a running back and also as well as kind of a receiver. And the Niners, they just more so using him as just a running back.
Right.
But I'm just making the point of, if he was in Carolina, he would be still sitting on the bench hurt right now with a paper cut. Let's just be honest. And that's all I was saying.
Yeah.
You know, and again, I'm not blaming him for it. I don't blame. Sure, I would have told my son the same thing. Like, oh no, bro, we ain't playing no more until we get up out of here. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
And,
Like, I get it.
yeah. And
with him being a running back too, my bad. But yeah,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. A player of his caliber, at the position that he plays, man, he don't have that long.
no,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
That's why I
He
said
don't
I don't
have
blame
that
him for
long.
doing it.
He don't have
He's
that
not
long. So
wrong at all for doing it.
no, not at all.
I just think it's funny how Panther fans have just completely cut off that factor of the situation when several people have told us he didn't want to be here.
And see, and I think the disconnect there too is that, from your standpoint, you thinking about how, so like when you say you don't blame him, that's how I assume that's how those Panthers fans feel as well.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But to the point where they're like, I feel like y'all kind of have the same mindset. It's just that what they're thinking is, well, he didn't want to be here, so I want him to go win and succeed or whatever.
Right.
And then for you, your mindset, I feel like, is, well, he didn't want to be here, and I wouldn't want to be here either. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And but they're more like, well, he didn't want to be here, and I don't understand why, but I still want him to win. And you're like, well, he didn't want to be here, but I do understand why.
Right.
Still, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, like that's the, I feel like that's where the disconnect is.
Exactly.
I mean, as a running back, you can't be in be in Carolina, bro.
No.
You can't be
that's why I said I don't blame him. I was going out too.
You can't be in Carolina. You can't be in freaking New England. You know what I'm saying? The Jets. If the Jets don't get right next year, Breece Hall needs to be thinking about his future.
Arizona, I would avoid places like that. Like that's just common sense because
as a young back, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we just know that the running back shelf life is not long. We understand that.
It's low.
Which is why I said I don't blame them for wanting to get out.
We'll just look at this situation, and before we move on, just look at Saquon Barkley with the Giants.
Exactly.
This is, I mean, they had one great year last season where he carried them literally to the playoffs on his back, didn't get hurt. This year, their quarterback went down. He was hurt a little bit, and it didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? And they kind of got exposed. And you told me they was gonna get exposed. I want to give you your flowers. You told me they was gonna get exposed in the offseason.
Yep.
But yeah. But back to
the coordinators.
Yeah, back to the coordinators. So Ben Johnson and Bobby Slowick decided to stay where they were, as well as Gerard Johnson, the QB coach of the Texans. I don't know if you saw that, but he decided to stay with the Texans as well, specifically citing the development of CJ Stroud as the reason why he stayed quarterback coach instead of going to somewhere and becoming an offensive coordinator. So how do you feel about these teams and these coordinators deciding that, hey, maybe I'm not ready to be a head coach yet, or maybe I just like where I'm at? How do you feel about it? What's your thoughts?
I think there's some ulterior motives for some of these guys, like mainly Johnson at Detroit.
Okay.
I think he thinks something bigger and better is coming open next year, which me and you talked about off camera. We can see Andy Reid hanging it up. You know what I'm saying? We can see that happening. For some reason, there's a lot of heat on, you know, the New York Giants job all of a sudden because Daboll is such a hothead, right? So I think that a guy like, you know, Johnson, who's now turned down not just 1 year, he's turned it down 2 years in a row now, where he was the hottest commodity both years and said, "No, I'm good." I think there may be some situation of I might want to take that Chiefs job when Andy Reid hangs it up, or whatever the case may be, or Dallas. Somebody just said Mike McCarthy's on a hot seat too. They might want the Dallas job. So you're looking at next year's class. I bet you if Dallas, the New York Giants, and also as well the Chiefs is open, I guarantee you them boys gonna be packing their bags then. I guarantee you they're gonna be like, "Oh no, we ain't skipping this opportunity." So I think with Ben Johnson, that's his point. Now I want to get to Slowick. Now Slowick, I can understand why he stayed another year. This is just his first year as an OC. Right. So I can kind of understand why he said, okay, I'm going to stay 1 year. I got a good situation here in Houston. The expectations are low. You know what I'm saying? We can just continue to build with which I think is one of the best young quarterbacks in the game. That makes sense for him to stay another year. And also as the guy that you said a couple minutes ago, the quarterback coach, that makes sense for them. Just stay there for right now. And now I want to talk about the two openings a little bit. When you look at the two openings, I thought the Washington Commanders job, I still think it's the most attractive job out of all the jobs that opened this year. They have the most cap space. You're in the nation's capital. You also as well are in the NFC East, which will be tough because if you look, you got the Eagles and you got the Cowboys, but still, you're in a good situation where you have the most cap. So you can go out there and pay some guys, and you have the number 2 draft pick in the NFL draft. So you can go get your quarterback and start setting yourself up. And they have a lot of picks as well. I really don't understand why people are turning down that Washington job. I think it's a tremendous opening. There's no Dan Snyder anymore.
No Snyder.
In my opinion, somebody is getting a really good job that probably shouldn't be open. I think Washington thought, Ben Johnson was going to commit, and he flaked them and said, no, I ain't coming. And I think Mike McDonald, your guy at the Ravens, I think he's going to end up with that job in the next coming days. And he's just going to have to move a few miles south down from Baltimore down to D.C., which is really a perfect situation for him because he really won't even have to move.
He ain't got to move.
And Baltimore right beside each other. It's like a 45-minute drive. So, I mean, again, I think that's kind of where I stand on that point. But I think just to cover everything, Ben Johnson's looking for ulterior motive, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I don't think he wanted the Falcons job like that, really. I don't think he wanted the Washington job like that either. I think he was hoping for one of them bigger jobs. And I also think he thought Tepper was going to be dumb enough to open his checkbook. I actually want to give Tepper a little bit of credit. I never do this, so David Tepper, you better see it and like it. I'm actually going to give David Tepper credit because I think he thought he was going to hook David Tepper and say, oh, this dumb dude going to give me $18 million a year. And Tepper said, no, we ain't doing that. And I think he tried to pawn Tepper to see if, but when Tepper said, no, we ain't paying all that, he took Canales. So I got to give Tepper a little bit of credit.
So
I know people don't want to do that, but yeah.
That leads into my point, actually. I'm glad you said that. So I'm on the flip side of that. Okay. I'm kind of scratching my head about this because, and don't get me wrong, I think as far as Ben Johnson goes, I mean, no matter what, you're still going to be a first-time head coach.
Yeah.
So how do we know that you're worth that top dollar that you're going to be commanding? You know what I'm saying? But on the flip side of things, Dave Canales is a first-year offensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, with very, very, very little experience in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I like the hire. I think it's a pretty good hire, but that's tough. And I gotta give a shout out to Ricky on Twitter. Ricky said that he was wondering why didn't David Tepper just wait a week for the championship games to be done? Because you got Ben Johnson, you know what I'm saying? Like he's going to be available then. And if Ben Johnson really was the catch, why didn't you just wait? You know what I'm saying? And like you said, and maybe Ben Johnson, maybe he would have took the Carolina job because he knows that David Tepper is liable to throw a check at somebody like that, especially somebody inexperienced. I don't know do you know the number on Canales' contract?
I don't know. I don't. But I'm guessing not a lot.
It's 6 years. It's 6 years, so it's probably not a lot. Yeah. But I am kind of scratching my head a little bit though because it's just a whole situation of getting Canales for cheap, is that a whole lot better than throwing a bag at a Ben Johnson? Well, how do you feel about that? Like,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say because I can't really seem to wrap my head around it, and maybe in my humble opinion, I'm gonna say this like I said last week, I think Canales was probably the only one that really wanted that Carolina job.
And that's that's exactly what I was about to say.
Okay.
Dave Canales is the only one that wanted this job, guys.
Okay.
Just flat out honest. Dave Canales was the only one that wanted this job. Maybe Raheem Morris too, because I think he shocked some people getting that job in Atlanta. Because I didn't expect him to get hired at all. And kudos to him. I think Dave Canales was desperate and said, "I want this job." I mean, literally, I don't know if you follow his Twitter every day since he's gotten hired. It's been
every single day
pounding. Oh yeah, every like he hyped. Which is good. I'm glad to hear that. I was just arguing about people not wanting to be Panthers. Now we got a guy that really wants to be a Panther. So I'm cool with it. Like, I want to make that clear. I'm cool with it, but I think you hit it on the nail. Nobody else wanted this job, guys. And that's really just what it is. And I think that Ben Johnson was using David Tepper for the second year in a row as a pond to see if he was going to opt up and give him $18, $19 million a year. And I think he thought he might have got that. And David Tepper said, "Nope, I'm not doing that again. I don't care who it's for." And like I said, I got to give a little bit of credit to Tepper if that was the case. But I think the thing is, nobody wanted the job, bro. And Dave Canales said, "Well, shoot, I'm 42 years old. I got 4 kids and a wife. Man, if I fail at this, I could just go back to being a coordinator and, I'm good."
Yeah, he good.
And that's what he did. He took the risk.
Yeah. And I mean, for him, so first of all, he's so young. Yeah, like you said, he got a family. Like, no matter what happens in Carolina, unless we're just 0-17 2 straight years in a row or something like that.
Fired, bro.
Yeah,
he's not getting fired if we go at 1-7. Panther fans better get used to it. We are stuck with David Canales, I think, for at least 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
I think at least he can go 0-17, 0-17. I think he's back for that 3rd year. I'm so serious because it's such a bad. We have such a bad reputation right now because of Tepper firing all these coaches. He's fired Ron, he's fired Matt Rule, and then he fired Frank right after 10 games. So he's not going to be able to turn around this year and fire another guy and be done fired 4 coaches in 4 years. It's just not.
He can't do that.
He can't do that. So I think Dave Canales probably knows that too. That if I come here and screw up, I got at least 2 years to, chill out.
And on top of that, it don't matter, even like you said before, if he do eventually get canned, he'll just go right back to being somebody in a organization, which is good for him, because he's so young. You know what I'm saying? It's not like unfortunately it's not like he's Frank Reich, to where he's probably not gonna get another job, unless somebody call you, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or something like that. But real quick though, last thing I did want to bring up too, Arthur Smith is now the offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
What you think about that?
Again, I think Arthur Smith gets a lot of scrutiny for his head coaching decisions. I actually think he's a decent OC, guys. Like, I know it's easy to brag on him and rag on him. I actually think he's a decent OC. I really do. Again, I don't want him as a head coach or nothing like that, But I think he can be decent. I think he's better than Canada. I mean, Canada was absolutely garbage. Again, I don't think Arthur Smith is some Sean McVay type of play caller or Kyle Shanahan or nothing like that. But I think he can at least be better than what Canada was. And I think that's really all they want in Steelers Nation. There's somebody that was better than Canada. And Canada was terrible for a long time and kept his job. Yeah. So, again, I'm not saying that Arthur Smith is some type of genius, and I think he's a mediocre offensive guy. And maybe a little bit above average, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of that could be assisted because he had, Derrick Henry when he was in Tennessee. But I think now he can just focus on just offense and just his 11 players on the field. I think he might be okay, honestly.
Yeah. And the Steelers really don't need a whole lot.
They don't.
Because they're just so talented. They got Jalen Warren, Najee
Harris. I do think they need to add some pieces on the O-line, though. They need a little bit of building on the O-line. But, I mean, you said, Jalen Warren.
Specifically weapons. Warren, Harris, and then my boy Pickens and Deontay Johnson is solid too. So, and then Freiermuth at tight end is solid as well. So, they really do got a squad. My dad, he's a Steelers fan, and I texted him and asked him about it. And he said his main concern was he didn't. I mean, obviously we know what happened in Atlanta. Arthur Smith did not use Bijan Robinson much,
or Cal
even though
Pitts.
Bijan still got his 1,010 touchdowns or whatever he had. He really wasn't used as he probably could have been. You know what I'm saying? To the strength that he
Cal
could have been.
Pitts. You took Cal Pitts at 4
Kyle
and you
Pitts.
never used him the whole time you was there. Like,
Yeah.
it's
So
tough.
that's the thing that my dad is worried about, and we can probably ask our boy Cordell too and see, because he's also a Steelers fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's pretty much all I got to say about that. I like you said, I don't like him as a head coach, but as an offensive mind, he might be all right.
Yeah.
And then the last hiring I wanted to talk about too, real quick, the Panthers. I also hired an offensive coordinator today.
Yeah.
Is it Brad? Is it Isaac? Is that how you say his name?
Right,
Brad
Isaac.
Isaac. Wide receivers coach from the Buccaneers, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, when it comes to the coordinator hires, I mean, these guys are going to hire their buddies. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of just how it goes. So I'm not really that like stoked or even like that like, you know, again, with the Panthers, is so much like pessimistic things in me that are just like I can't really trust it until I see like wins. So I'm not even getting hype about some of these hires, honestly, to be real with you. I need to see some dubs, like at the end of the day. Like so I mean, I'm cool with it. This is a buddy system in the NFL, so I'm not surprised. But again, I'm not like, oh yeah, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. Like, no, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, okay, let me see it through first.
Right. I'm a little worried in the sense that
it's a young coaching staff.
Yeah, it's a young coaching staff, and Dan Morgan and Canales are tight.
Buddy too. Yeah.
And then Canales and Isaac are tight. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at?
That's what I mean. That's why I just said it's a buddy system.
It's kind of weird in my opinion that it's almost like, and then David Tepper probably really likes Dan Morgan. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's starting to trickle down. David Tepper was infatuated with Morgan. Morgan was infatuated with Canales. Canales is infatuated with Isaac. You know what I'm saying? I need them to be infatuated with some good players and with some wins. That's what you need. So, but that's a situation to keep an eye on, obviously.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like I said, with the Panthers, man, I'm just like, look, bro, I gotta really just I just gotta wait and see with the Panthers, man. Like, I don't know if you noticed, I really haven't said nothing about any of these hires. I've been pretty quiet, like, okay, let's see it. Like, we hyped up Matt Rule, he was a freaking failure. We hyped up Frank Wright, he was a freaking failure. I'm not about to hype up Canales and he be a freaking failure too. Like, I'm kind of just on the wait and see it mode. We'll see what happens. I want to kind of see what's going to happen with Evero as well. I think that'll kind of help decide what's going to happen going forward. Because I think he did a really good job this season. But again, I'm just not really optimistic about the Panthers until I see it. When I see it with my own eyes, then I'll start getting hype and, I'm believing and woo. Until then, I'm like, let's see it first before, anything else, in my opinion.
I agree, for sure. So let's move on to a little bit of NBA just real quick.
We're going to do a real quick NBA, maybe like 5-10 minutes.
Let's move on to the NBA.
Yeah.
So I know they announced since we first and foremost, since we last did our pod, Doc Rivers got hired, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, he got hired last Thursday?
Last week, yeah. So Doc Rivers got hired, and they also announced the NBA All-Star starters.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull up the list. My bad, I should have had it. But give me your thoughts on Doc Rivers making his short return back to the NBA after a short 4-month leave or something, and then and they already blew a lead last night against the Nuggets.
So let me speak about Adrian Griffin real quick, because either that dude was truly hated, or because I heard they was dancing around the day after he got fired or something like that. It was a whole bunch of hoopla going on. I don't know
Yeah.
what Adrian Griffin did, but to get fired and you the number 2 seed in the NBA is crazy to me. And the Bucks now have went through like 3 coaches in like 6 years. So that's just, and they won a title during that time, by the way. So it's just kind of crazy to just think about in all. Secondly, Doc Rivers, if you don't win here, it's Jover. Your career is done. If you can't win a title with Dame and Greek Freak in Milwaukee, it's Jover. Your career is done, over with. It's over with. And I think somebody else said that too. I think it was Woj got on ESPN and said if he don't perform, or whoever, it was somebody on ESPN. They said if he don't perform here, it's done.
Yeah.
It's done. It's curtains. And I 100% agree. So I'll be rooting for Doc Rivers, but if he don't get it done here, it's over.
It's Jover. It's he lucky that it wasn't Jover. I'll be frank with you. I thought it was Jover. I think that was our first ever podcast episode where I pretty much was like, it's Jover for Doc Rivers, bro.
That was our first episode. Actually.
That was our first ever episode. I remember that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was like, bro, he didn't get it done in LA and he didn't get it done in Philly. And it's the same stuff.
Bro, still living off that title from the Boston Celtics.
2010, right? Or 09, right?
Yeah.
Bro, listen. This man had supremely talented roster after supremely talented roster. The Clippers.
That Clippers roster was crazy.
Or not Paul, but freaking they had, bro. They had Kawhi and PG at the time, right? Wasn't that under Doc too?
No,
was that no, that was Live City.
Live
City.
Yeah.
They had Live City. And then with the 76ers, obviously, you got Joel Embiid.
And even back then, Ben Simmons was actually playing pretty decent.
Ben Simmons, they had Tyrese Maxey on your roster. They had James Harden on your
roster. They had Jimmy Butler at one point too.
Jimmy Butler at one point. Couldn't get it done. You know what I'm saying? Now with the Bucks, you got one of the greatest players of all time in Dame Lillard and one of the very best, greatest players of all time in Giannis Antetokounmpo on your roster. If you don't get it done, bro, I'm sorry, man. And this is me saying, this is from somebody who says they need more black coaches in the NBA.
Yeah.
But my brother, if you don't get it done here, you ain't finna be one of them.
No, it's over.
You ain't finna be one of them. I think where we at? We still at 16 black coaches now because Adrian Griffin got because they just cancel each other out. So we still at 16. My brother, if you don't get this done, that's it for you.
That's it.
That's it. So moving on to the All-Star game real quick. Eastern Conference starters, okay?
Yep.
Dame Lillard, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Joel Embiid. And then the West, Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic.
Yep.
Did anybody get snubbed?
So I seen people making an argument for Curry that he got snubbed by SGA, and I just disagree. SGA has just been better than him this year, in my opinion. I seen a lot of Hawks fans saying Trae Young had been snubbed. He's having a great season statistically, but we ain't winning games, bro. It's just what it is. I'm gonna be honest, bro. I might be one of the few. I don't really see any snubs on this list, bro.
Okay.
In my opinion, I don't. Maybe it's a person I'm not seeing and I'm forgetting at the top of my head right now, but I don't see any snubs at this moment.
Yeah, and I feel you on that. Personally, in the East, I probably would go Jalen Brunson over Dame. That's me. That's where I would.
He's been good of late. He's been real good of late.
Yeah, that's the only snub that I kind of see. Like, I don't get me wrong, Dame has been great.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
That's probably the only debatable one. Is
I think so too. Dame. Yeah, I think so too. Everybody else,
obviously, like it's a lock.
Obviously, we know Giannis and LeBron is more of a popularity contest. That's why they're there. That's where they're captains for like the 6th straight season or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Embiid, obviously is kind of your MVP front runner. He's got to be there. Jokic, same deal. Tatum and Durant, they're kind of like the guys that they have to make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It don't matter what they're doing.
politics.
They
Yeah.
obviously starters. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then your point guards is where things get kind of tricky, but I think they got it right.
Yeah.
I would probably just say Brunson over Dame. But other than that though, I mean it's gonna be a good all-star game though, man. I'm excited to see everybody that makes it. And I hope
Yeah.
we'll be talking about it soon. Probably next week whenever
Probably
they
next
announce
week.
the
Yeah. 'Cause I'm about
whenever
to
they
say
announce the
next week we
reserves.
probably gonna mostly cover basketball. Probably it's probably
Yeah.
gonna be heavy because football obviously be on a break.
Right.
No football next week, so it's probably gonna be a pretty heavy basketball podcast next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cam, go ahead. My bad, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good. I was just gonna say we're gonna talk about the reserves probably next week whenever they announce them.
Yeah.
And then other
Oh,
than
there
that,
was one more basketball thing I want to talk about. Let's take like 5 minutes to talk about
okay.
this. The Charlotte Hornets. Let's talk about the Charlotte Hornets just real quickly. Now I know did you see the stuff that Terry Rozier said about them today,
Yeah,
kind of in a way, where
yeah, I
pretty much
did.
like, Charlotte, it's okay with losing, and
Yeah.
And then yesterday there was a whole what they call laughing gate, where the Hornets were getting blown out by like 20-some points at home. It sounded like they was in Madison Square Garden, and LaMelo was laughing with James Bouknight and some other guys on the bench because their coach, Steve Clifford, had just got, well, not because,
Yeah,
but we know it was
after
something
he
to the
got
effect of Steve Clifford got kicked out.
yeah.
Let me ask you a quick question. How do you feel about the whole situation with the Hornets, like just in general? Because to me, they just feel like an absolute crap fest. Like
Yeah.
they are a crap fest, like bad.
I was sworn to watch my tongue for the whole season on the Hornets because apparently you can't talk bad about them if you're not a fan. But but even though
I already
everybody
know who you
knows,
talking about. That's the funny thing.
yeah, even though everybody knows that it's they're it, man, listen, here's the real deal when it comes to that. They just need to reset. I mean, just totally reset.
Yeah.
And when I say reset, I mean like everybody except for LaMelo Ball. But
And
like,
Miller. I think Miller too.
oh yeah, and Miller. Yeah.
Everybody else can go though. Coaches, all
and,
that.
And major shout out to Brandon Miller also. He's actually beating every single doubter, including myself, because I was like, man, y'all probably should have took Scoop. Man, he's blowing that out the water. So shout out to him. He just got announced to the Rising Stars game earlier today. So shout out to him.
Deserved.
But as far as what Terry Rozier said, man, I one thing I want to say, and it's not even just about Hornets fans. This is about all fans everywhere. Y'all got to stop being mad at these players that are actually on the team for saying for saying what need to be said.
Yep.
Terry Rozier had been with the Hornets for how many years? 4 or 5?
Like 3-4 years. Yeah.
Terry Rozier has been with the Hornets that whole time. Been hooping, by the way, out of his mind. That's why he's with the Heat right now. Because they was like, man, shoot, they ain't using him. You know what I'm saying? They ain't going nowhere. We're going to give him here. You know what I'm saying? Listen, he didn't say nothing wrong. He said losing is essentially the mentality.
Yeah.
But when you with the Heat, and they're gonna take it as a slight to the Charlotte Hornets. That was more of an indictment on the Heat, where he was saying, when we lose, we don't like that.
Yeah.
We getting back to the drawing board, because that's how Spo got them boys coached. That's how Pat Riley got that organization.
I'm about to say that's how that whole organization is. Yeah.
That's how they moving. You know what I'm saying? That's why Udonis Haslem jersey is in the rafters right now, because that's the mindset. That's the Heat culture. See, the Hornets, as an outsider looking in, there's no winning culture there. You know what I'm saying? There's no, you know what I mean? Like, Steve Clifford got fired before and he's already back. What does that mean? What does that mean? That means they reward losers. That's what that means. You lost your job. Oh, it's okay. We're going to bring you right back because you're a loser. You feel me? Like, that's what it rewards. And as far as the players laughing on the bench, I mean, we don't know what they was laughing about. Right. It's not a good look.
Right.
When after your coach get ejected. You can have fun. I mean, even if your team get blown, that's just one game out of 82. They know that.
And they
But
know they suck. They already know that they
yeah,
suck.
they good. I
They
mean,
human.
bro, they got the easiest job in the world. You mean to tell me I can go out there and we don't have no expectation to win, and I'm still getting paid all this money? Man, come on. I'd be smiling too.
Right.
I'd be
Seriously.
smiling in my street clothes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Listen, but for real though, the overall, man, they just got to change the culture in
Yeah.
Charlotte for the basketball team. They just got to do something to they got to bring winners in there, and it starts with the GM and the head coach.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. You took the words right out of my mouth. That was exactly what I was going to say. Is the Charlotte Hornets just needed absolute culture change from the ground up. They already got the new owners. They need to go ahead and clean house with Kupchak, clean house with Steve Clifford again, clean out everybody but LaMelo and honestly, Brandon Miller's locker. Everybody else pack up. It's over. Everybody else can go. But in my opinion, yeah, I 100% agree with you, man. I just want to get that point off real quick because I know we were talking about that earlier, and I just wanted to bring it up here. Listen, we got 2 more podcasts coming, and then we're going on a little bit of a hiatus, which we've talked about before, but I like to remind y'all every week. So we'll be here next week to preview the Super Bowl, right? And talk a little bit NBA mostly, and then after that, we will talk about the Super Bowl, and then we will be gone probably till April, to be honest with you. So we're going to be going about a month and a half. We'll still be putting out content on TikTok and stuff like that, and on YouTube and on Twitter and all that. So we'll still be putting out content, but we won't be doing the podcast show for a little bit. We are going to take a little bit of a break after the Super Bowl. So like I said, just to make y'all know what's going on, we have 2 more episodes. So we'll be here next week again at 6:30, and then we'll be back the following Tuesday at 6:30, and then that's it till probably end of March, April. We're figuring out the details of that now. And then, yeah, that's kind of how we're going to do it. We'll still be putting out content, and, you know what I'm saying? We'll see how things go. But that's pretty much just where we're at right now. We appreciate y'all's love and support, man. Continue to shout us out. Continue to show us love. The page is growing on all social media platforms. So we appreciate y'all's love and success and just rocking with us, really. So, again, we appreciate y'all. But, Cam, did you have anything else to say?
Nope. That's pretty much it. Just be ready to come back for season 2 when it's time.
Yeah.
But no, that's pretty much it, man. Thank y'all for the support. We keep doing it and everything. So hope to see y'all next week.
Yep, definitely, man. Thank y'all for the love and support. We're gonna sign off for the night, man. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a blessed rest of your week.